Perfect, thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. We're here for the regular council meeting of September 18th, 2024. We will go with introductions and then get right into it. Right before we get into the public hearing, I will explain public hearing section. I'll explain the process and how that goes. So we have with us online Councillor Jeanine Boulanger.
Good evening, everybody.
In person, we have Councillor Joel Lemoine. Good evening. Councillor Shane Pelletier. Our CEO Mitch Duval.
Evening.
Myself, Chris Ewan. Our Councillor Jason Bondarchuk. Good evening. Got your name for a second, sorry. And our Assistant CEO Dominic Lemoine. Perfect. We will go right into item number 1, meeting called to order. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bondarchuk, second. Councillor Lemoine. Anything before we open the meeting? Councillor Boulanger, are you just going to say yay instead of raise your hand there? Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to keep my camera off for video quality on my end. Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just wanted to confirm before we start the meeting. Okay, I will call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. That's carried 5-0. I'll open the meeting at 7:01 p.m. Item number 2, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover? Councillor Pelletier, second.
Councillor Boulanger.
You. We're good with it as is, council? Okay, call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried, thank you. Item number 3, adoption of the minutes. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bondarchuk, second. Councillor Pelletier.
Last regular council meeting was held on September 4th, whereby council adopted the 2023 audited statements, presentation delegation made by the RCMP regarding, I believe, the second quarter stats. And also passed a resolution regarding Rail Safety Week. And just another reminder, it is coming up September 23rd to the 29th.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Council, any comments or questions, edits, changes? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that's carried. Item 5.1, accounts paid to be approved. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lemoine, second. Councillor Pelletier.
One batch, 19,113, in the amount of 69,000. 2 bills in there for part of the payment for the civic site, as well as to Revenue Canada.
For council discussion, council, anything, questions? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, that's carried. Thank you. 5.2, accounts not paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Boulanger.
You second. Councillor Pelletier.
3 batches, 19,139, the amount of 1.45 million. 194,140 EFTs of 8,600 and 19145 in the amount of 1,100. For the big batch of 1.5 million, basically that's 2 big invoices, one to the RSR for 477 for engineering fees. The other one is the Ildishane Main Street for 642. All other items have been provided as a summary attached to council's information.
Thank you. Council, any comments or questions on this batch? Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's carried. Thank you. 5.3, payroll to be approved. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lemoine, second. Councillor Pelletier.
Payroll 18, a little bit of overtime on the public works side. As you will notice, Green Team has come to a close. If you look at the hours, they've been reduced. So done for the summer. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Great job. Council, any comments or questions? No. Work was finishing up Hamilton there. So perfect. Okay, call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. That's carried. Thank you. We were going into the public hearing section now, so I'll give a quick breakdown how public hearings work for the Arm of Richard and this council. I will read out the item number and then the CEO will do his little bit with some specifics, and then I will open the public hearing and ask if the applicant or there is a presentation that would like to be made by someone representing the applicant. At that time, they would come up to the front or they would go online and they would make themselves known and they would begin their presentation. After the presentation, I'd ask if there's anyone that wishes to speak in favor in person again, you'd come up here, raise your hand, you'd come up here, sit down in the front, and you would speak in favor. And then you could do that online, I will ask, or on the phone. I don't think there's anyone on the phone though today, but that's how that is. And then after I would go, if there's anyone wishing to speak against in person, again, you would raise your hand, come up to the front, and then I would go anyone against online or on the phone at that time. And when you're online, I ask anyone to speak online, unmute your microphone and turn on your camera if possible, please. And then I will do one last call after the anyone speaking against is done. And that could be anyone wishing to speak in favor that didn't speak the first time, speak against one more time with new items, and any general comments or questions you might have. So without further ado, we will go into, and then I will close the public hearing after I do my last call, and then council will be debating. I always forget that council will be debating, and at that time, that is for council to discuss what's going on with the item number, not for any engagement with the gallery. So thank you. Item 6.1.1, V11 2024 North Grassy Properties Phase 6A.
And in conjunction, we would also entertain 612 and 613 as one public hearing.
Yes.
So the first one is 611 for Phase 6A, which is 38 lots. Phase 6B is 55 lots, and Phase 7 is 20 lots. And for all of these, it is to vary the minimum site width requirement of 100 feet and a minimum site area requirement of 14,500 feet of the proposed lots for the subdivision file 416524888337, 8339, and 8340.
Thank you. So again, I will open the public hearing for 6.11, 6.12, 6.13. And just so everyone's aware, once I close that public hearing, we will be voting on each item separately. I will open the public hearing at 7:07 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to make a presentation? Come on up.
That's right. One moment, please. Sorry, I had a frog in my throat for a while. Good, my presentation. I sent my presentation in earlier, so it'll be able to be viewed online as well. My name is Jackie Wilkie. I am representing North Grassy Properties for the application. We are looking at the variances for the subdivision that has been approved conditionally for Grand Point Meadows 6A, 6B, and 7, as we've discussed. So for 6A, what we're looking to vary are the lot widths from the 100-foot to lot widths ranging from 70 feet to 93.6 feet for all lots. As we go through, we have a table that distinguishes exactly which lots are which widths. And then a variance for lot area from the 14,500 for block 3, lot 11 to go down, and block 3, lot 12 to go down to 14,468 square feet. So just slightly smaller. The reason for those two is because they're on the edge of that pilot area. If they were the exact right size, we would make the one next to it a little bit too small for the width to go down below 70 feet. If you can go to the next slide, please. This shows it. So this is the development agreement plan that was done, Schedule B, from 2015 to show the site itself overall, with lots with phases 6A, 6B, and 7 being in the middle to the west of the area, adjacent to where you can see a soccer/football field, and around the pond on that side in that L shape. So with the subdivision that was done, this set out the road locations, the road rights of way, as well as the depths of all of the blocks. So when we look at the development agreement, Schedule B with an overlay of Phase 6A, you can see that we're fairly consistent with a few changes on the road. We closed one road last year, So the lots now go through on the one side, and they've adjusted to have the roads facing out onto Grand Point Meadows Boulevard for the two lots on the east side of the pond. The bay, which is block 3, has the lots adjusted slightly so that we have the two smaller lots, lot 11 and lot 12, they're on the south side of that bay. If we were to make them the exact right size, the width of the lot right next to it would become even narrower. So we would be having an even smaller throat on a very large pie lot, which was our concern on that one. But it could be done if we want to change that variance. We change the width of that lot down, be probably just below 70 feet to make it work exactly right for the square footages. But this shows that we have that all but 2 of the lots meet the requirement for the area. The largest lot that we have in this subdivision is 31,196 square feet. That's the big pie lot in the corner, which is more than double the required size. The average lot size is 16,940 square feet, which is 16.8% larger than is required in the bylaw. And the overall widths are based on making it efficient with the depth that we have for between roads. So you can see that we have the roadways already set out. So the depth of lots that we're looking at, that's where we adjusted. This was all discussed back in 2015, a very long time ago, or 2014, even before that. And talking about what could be expected as we move forward, and not necessarily from the RM, but from the market as we moved forward, and looking at the cost of lots and building based on frontage foot, and reducing that cost to the owners by having less frontage foot, but more depth for a lot so that they're able to build back instead of wide. So that we aren't putting in as many roads. We have more depth of lots, so you have more yard space, or you have a longer building space. And it also afforded us having more landscape PR spaces within the development as well. We're well over our required 10% within this development. If we go on to the next one, we'll just go through to 6B, just describe what we're doing there. So again, this one is the variance for the frontage for the widths, and the ranges on this one is 74 feet to 87.9 feet. And if you go to the next one, just puts it on the overlay of the Schedule B again. And you can see that they're fairly similar. There's a bit of a change as we go around the bend on the L shape. That's where the adjustment is as we go through. This one has meets all the area requirements. We're over 14,500 on all of the lots. The largest lot in this section is 21,884 square feet, and the average is 15,811, which is 9% larger than the requirement within the bylaw. And then if we want to go to the next one, which is phase 7, which is the end cul-de-sac and the end of Buffalo Trail, where we have, again, the ranging, the width ranging from 74 feet to 86 feet on all lots, but the area does meet the requirement. Go to the next one, our final slide here, is meeting the area requirement. The largest lot in this section is 29,685 square feet, with the average being 16,810 square feet, which is 15.9% larger than the requirement in the bylaw. This is what we're looking to have for the variances on these lots within this development. Again, looking to meet the requirement of the area for the development so that we are keeping that same size of lot and keeping the same requirements for side yards, so that we're still having the same spacing between houses, not asking for any reduction in that, but just looking at having people build in a different form so that they aren't building across as wide, but they're building deeper into their lots.
Thank you. Councilors, any comments, questions? Let's start with you, Councillor Belanger.
Sure, yes, thanks. I think this is a good layout. You're still keeping, like you said, the area of the lots, even though the frontage is a lot narrower. I spoke to Mr. Boulay about this a I think that's Norm Boulay about this a few years ago, just on the market requirements, and I'm assuming this is what's desired, as you're saying, you know. So I don't have a problem with that. I do have a question about the soccer field. I think you're aware, and or if not, that the Grand Point Park is currently developing 2 soccer fields. The RM has put money into engineering fees to get it properly designed with all the proper levels and slopes and drainage and all that. And they've got soccer nets there, and just thinking, you know, soccer fields aren't cheap and they have to be maintained. So this is another field that the RM will have to maintain after you guys are out of there, right? So I'm just wondering, is that a planned, or is that just a concept, or is that a definite? Because having 2 sets of soccer fields in such close proximity to me may not be the best use of the land.
It's been a concept from the beginning. We were always understanding that this development would take a couple of decades to develop.
Yeah.
Completely. And we were not sure what would be required at the end of that development period. If there was more growth, more kids, more activity, more sports, and there wasn't enough room at the rec center in Grand Point right now, and with the fields. And as you guys know, every house or every lot in Grand Point Meadows makes a contribution to that recreation facility. This is a long-term space. It is the area that we are looking at for recreation. It does not necessarily have to be a soccer field. It's not being done in this phase, but we can start thinking about that for development over the next phases. Once we have to put that pond in, then we should start looking at what we want to do, either completely or as an interim in the future for that recreational space. But we would be looking to the RM to give us guidance on that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if it was permanent or if that was just the conceptual phases. You know, I can see another playground being perfect, so that the kids can just walk to the playground as opposed to going down Burnett Road, because that's, you know, when you're young, it's not ideal. So I was just bringing that forward. But other than that, I think, yeah, no, this is all good on my part. I have no other comments.
Councilor Blanchet, anything else from council? Just the 2 lots, right, Jackie?
Sorry?
It's just the 2 lots for the size?
Just the 2 lots for the size. Yeah, it's just the 2 on the south side of that cul-de-sac. It's just just the way the property lines ended up being, so that we can have a decent width.
Perfect. Nothing else?
One thing I always wondered, so that pond is to build up property, or it's just for
The ponds
that, yeah,
are required for drainage.
but there. Oh, whoops, there's another one on there.
Yeah, we have 4
sorry.
ponds.
Okay, now I see.
Yeah, we have 3 ponds in this development. Yeah. It's for land drainage control. So we don't have the flooding.
Anything else from council? Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in person wishing to speak in favor? Anyone online wishing to speak in favor? Anyone in person wishing, or anything received in favor? Anyone in person wishing to speak against?
I'd like some facts.
Lance, Mr. Burnett.
Yeah, well, they wanted to vary these sizes, like she says, they know about them from 2015. And the last few years, you guys with the snow removal's got a real issue in that development. So where are they gonna, they're taking away frontage, like, so now they got no room to put that snow in the winter time, and it's plugged their roads to get out. I'm wondering if you guys understand the situation?
Okay, we can, we'll ask them to come back up and.
Okay. And those ponds, like the geese are starting to become a real issue. I know it's a good drainage thing because we saw what's happening in New Bothwell.
Yeah.
Luminart. They're flooding the farm fields to keep the developments going. So that's another issue. And also like saying about the playground, which is a good idea. So the kids could just walk there. Because right now I got 4 buses rolling down our road that we never had. And when we brought into this thing, there was, you know, where's the kids going to go to school? Now they're all being bused. That's another issue. And it's all like, so I'm thinking a playground's probably a good idea. Like leave it in there and play. You know, because you're supposed to be putting more houses, but here's a few issues that you gotta look at, not just bend over and agree.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they keep changing it all the time,
Appreciate that.
okay?
I'll fire those questions back to the applicant.
Yeah, we'll see what's kind of common.
Council, do you have any questions or answers for Richard at this time? No? Okay, thanks. Thanks, Richard. I appreciate it.
Oh, weed control,
Weed control, okay.
that's another issue that's,
On your, you're talking about,
well, it's on their development, but the weeds are blowing all over it. It seems like they take care of it after the fact. Like, once the seeds start blowing, it's too late. Gotta be either controlled before, and we should have some teeth in these things. Like, don't just let them go. You know?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against in person? Anyone online wishing to speak against or on the phone? Anything received against?
Nothing received against.
Okay, one last call. I don't know if the applicant wanted to come up and address some of the questions.
Sure. If I missed something, please remind me. For the snow clearing, we understand that there is a narrower width. The driveways are going to need to be planned and adhered to as to where they're supposed to be planned, so that we have wider spaces between. And we also would like to work with the RM and the snow removal crews, just to make sure that we can plan where to have those spaces to do the dumping. There are stretches of longer boulevard to work with, but yes, it is harder when you have more houses. That is a standard throughout as we get into a denser development like this. This isn't 2-acre lots, 5-acre lots, et cetera. It's a denser development, as we have found through the other ones. I think that's just growing pains on getting to know how to deal with it. For the ponds, yes, the geese are coming in. The first pond was done in a traditional style with the rock revetment and then sod on the edge. If there was a change that was wanted, we would need that to come from the RM saying what type of pond to develop, if it was to be a naturalized with the taller grasses, or and again, that's on a maintenance side as well for you guys, is what you guys want to try and maintain in the long term. So, and the knowledge that you have, or what knowledge you would need to have to be able to do that maintenance so that it's healthy. Weed control has been an issue for a while. We are trying to get on top of it, but as he said, the seeds went, so it's been trying to catch up now that we have seeds in the ground that are continuously coming back up again. We are getting better at getting out there earlier in the season to try and get them taken care of earlier. And that is something that we've been working on the last year. And I know that it's not long enough, but we've been trying to throughout the last year. We have one playground that's already going in right now for phase 1, 2, 3. That was in that first part. That's actually being constructed this year. So that's one playground in, and we will get other ones in as well.
Council, any questions? No?
Hi, Councillor Belanger here. I'm glad you mentioned the pond development. I was going to actually talk about that after, because I know there is an issue with the way the first pond is. So we definitely would like to see some different design, either aeration or the natural weeds, that type of thing, rather than just the rock, because I think this is something we have to talk to Public Works about, of course, and I don't think they think that's the best design, the way it was done. So moving forward, I think we should have a discussion on that.
For sure. And that we're open to having those discussions for sure.
Okay.
Just give us direction as to what we have to do.
Perfect. I think that's it from our end. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Any final call? Anyone have any final comments, questions? Yeah, come on.
Some of those areas there, you look at the roads there, I don't know if there's kids in those north end lots where the smaller homes are. But like for a bus to get around those corners, it looks like that's gonna be.
I'll let you address him and then I'll come back up again so we can follow the correct
Yeah,
procedure.
okay. No, it's just that, like, if you drive around and you watch what's going on,
Right.
you see how tight that is for these buses. And I could see, you know, somebody slipping in the wintertime and all of a sudden you got an incident. So like,
The north one is actually,
I know it's a
can't call it
55,
55 plus, but.
yeah, but you could see there'd be a grandkid maybe or something.
I will say like.
Because
pretty sure the-
Community or society's changing a little.
Yeah, I will say, I think the fire chief does review and make sure fire trucks and stuff can access the roads and get around, so that's one benefit for sure. Knowing that, I don't know the difference between a school bus and a fire truck offhand, but I would assume that, they're quite similar in length.
Comparable in turning radius.
Yeah, so that's one thing that is considered on our end administratively, so the fire.
So, well, I just wanted to make sure, you
Yeah,
know,
no, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, thank you.
sometimes you guys slip. Yeah.
Did you want to?
You guys have answered it, yes. It's a condo development, so it does not have the same road right of way.
Yeah.
But it does have the same pavement size, and everything else is done as per the fire requirements.
Okay, any last comments before I close it? Now I'll close the hearing at 7:26 PM. And we will go with 6.1.1. Do I have a mover? Counselor Pelletier, second Counselor Belanger, thank you.
Okay, so, I'm not gonna read every lot and every number of it, so I'll just read, therefore be resolved that variation order V11 2024 is approved with no conditions. And council all has the list of the lot number,
Right.
the width and the site area.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll open up for council discussion debate. Council, is there anyone that wants to start?
I'll start. We did talk about the lot widths. And I know this has been a concern with us as well, with the change constantly coming. But we've seen in the past how that development is laid out. I just want to make it known that we have talked about it, and because of what the lot size is usually bigger than the required, even the smaller ones, they're over a third of an acre. I think I'm comfortable with the way it is.
Anything else, Councilor Belanger?
No, that's good.
Anyone else on council for this one? Do we want to make it, we'll look in there and adding some kind of point to the resolution where snow clearing has to be reviewed by Public Works before any approvals of planning is done or road work is done. Just to make sure that we have the capacity and space and place to put it. I don't know if that's something you add on there, if that's just general.
I think that would be just general in nature, because I don't think we could put some weight to it legally wise.
Okay.
The plan of subdivision with the road allowances and the way it's set up was already predetermined. Now they're working within the inner defined area as to where the lots lines are. But it is a valid point, and that we should be working with the developer in coordination with Public Works and get that settled.
If I can add, again, for my 2 years, here on council and not since 2015, I'm reassured that for other developments that we've talked about to this point, I've brought up the point of snow removal, and they seem to be aware of it, on top of it, figure it out. Grader passes there, dump there, and all this, so it gives me a certain level of confidence or of comfort. So at least it's discussed. So I wouldn't see why this would be different. Consider.
I appreciate that. And as for just the other residents, ratepayers concerns, weed control stuff, I know that can't be anything added to here, but just a note that council has taken that information in, and we will continue to stay on top of the weed situation.
Okay.
As well as the pond, I guess we still have to do a development agreement, right, Mr. CAO?
Well, there's currently a development agreement for all phases, so it'd be a matter of
Oh,
working with the developer to change it from the traditional to whatever new system either aeration or your naturalized pond setting. That again is working with the developer moving forward.
And how do we do that?
I'll call them.
Well, number one, I would recommend to council to have the discussions with Public Works, because there might be pros and cons for each of the options provided. And then up to council to decide from there what option they would like to proceed with. And then we would communicate that with the developer and hopefully cooperation moving forward.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Put it on Public Works meeting coming up. You already wrote it down. You're one step ahead. Perfect. Anything else from council?
Yeah, I think most of the points are covered.
Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Hi.
None, that is carried. Thank you. 6.1.2 V12 2024 North Rasty Properties Inc. Phase 6B.
Therefore, we resolve that variation V12, oh, sorry, yes.
Councilor Pelletier, second, Councilor Lund, that's my fault.
Okay. Therefore, we resolve that variation order V12 2024 is approved.
Perfect. Open up for council discussion debate. Essentially the same conversation we just had. Any added comments? You'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? None, that's carried. Thank you. 6.1.3 V13 2024 North Grassy Properties Inc. Phase 7. Do I have a mover? Councilor Bonnerchuk, second. Councilor Lemoine.
Therefore, be resolved that variation order number V13 2024 is approved.
Perfect. Open up for council discussion. Again, same as before. Any additional comments, questions? If none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? None. That is carried. Thank you. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to leave if you want, unless you're willing to stay. Listen to this. Okay. 6.2.1, correct?
Correct.
C17 2024 Heartland Holdings 638 Discovery Drive.
The proposal is to allow an industrial multiplex in a MA industrial agricultural zone.
Perfect. I'll open the public hearing at 7:33 PM. Is there anyone wishing to make presentation? Or the applicant wishing to speak? Person online, nothing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor in person? Online or on the phone? Anything received in favor?
Nothing received.
Anyone wishing to speak against in person? Online or on the phone? Anything received against?
Nothing received against.
And final call, anyone wishing to speak in favor, against, ask any questions or comments in person, online or on the phone? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing at 7:33 PM. Do I have a mover? Councilor Bonnerchuk, second. Councilor Pelletier.
Therefore, be resolved that conditional use application C17 2024 to allow a industrial multiplex in a MA industrial agricultural zone is approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall enter into a development agreement with the municipality for zoning bylaw 9-2019, part 5, section 5.17. 2, the applicant shall comply with municipal noise bylaw 4-2023. 3, the hours of operation shall be limited from 7 AM to 11 PM. 4, any outdoor lighting must be located, arranged, or shielded so that no light is directed at any neighboring properties or roadway. 5, the applicant shall ensure that all proposed construction conforms to the Manitoba building codes, fire codes, and any other municipal and or provincial permits and approvals as may be required. Applicant may wish to seek the help of an engineer, architect, or other professionals who is certified in their fields to ensure compliance. 6, the applicant is to apply for and obtain a building permit from the Armand-Richard office. 7, that the occupancy permits will be required for each individual unit within the building. Further drawings may be required indicating fire separations depending on the proposed occupancies adjacent to one another. 8, that the applicant complies with the lettering bylaw 5-2011. 9, that any signage shall comply with the municipal zoning bylaw 9-2019 part 11. 10, that exterior storage is to be contained within a maximum 10-foot privacy fence as per section 326 of the zoning bylaw and hidden from public view. And 11, that the applicant shall sign a confirmation letter accepting the terms of the order. There may be site audits to conduct ensure compliance, and any non-compliance issues may be caused to revoke the conditional use at any time.
Thank you, council. Discussion, debate, questions, comments?
He doesn't have too many lots left to go.
Agreed. Perfect. Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None, that's carried. Thank you. 6.2.2 C18 2024 Darlene and Lloyd Kellett, 797 PR 200.
Proposal is to allow a secondary suite in the AL Agricultural Limited Zone.
We're going to open the public hearing at 7:36 PM. Is there anyone wishing to make a presentation or the applicant wanting to speak on this?
That would be me. I haven't prepared anything. I'm just here
Okay.
to request the permit.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Council, did you have any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much. Oh, did she say something? Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor in person?
Okay. My name is Lindsay Kellett. I'm her daughter. So we would like to build a granny suite over the garage for my husband and I, as my parents are aging and can't manage their full property and house anymore. So that's kind of the scoop.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Council, do you have any questions before they leave the chair?
Sorry.
That's okay. I don't think so.
I am her son and her grandson. I live across the street and I'm just here to vote in favor.
What's your name, sorry?
My name's Mason Kellett.
Kelly. Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, I'm just here to vote in favor because my grandma's getting old and she needs all the help she can get.
Straight up. You must be my, you must be my age.
That's it.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mason. You're aging gracefully, just so you know.
Thank
Very
you.
true. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor in person? Online or on the phone? Anything received in favor?
Nothing received.
Anyone wishing to speak against in person? Anyone wishing to speak against online or on the phone? Anything received against?
Nothing received.
Okay, final call. Anyone wishing to make any final comments, questions, speak in favor or against, in person, online, or on the phone? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing at 7:38 PM. Do I have a mover? Counselor Bonnerchuk, second. Counselor Lemoine.
Therefore, be resolved that conditional use application C18-2024 is approved, subject to the following conditions. The applicant, number 1, the applicant obtains a building permit from the RM office. 2, the applicant shall ensure that all proposed construction conforms to the Manitoba building codes, fire codes, health standards, and any other municipal and/or provincial permits and approvals as may be required. The applicant may seek to help from an engineer, architect, or other professional who is certified in the field to ensure compliance. 3, that the use of the secondary suite is limited to immediate family only. 4, that the maximum floor area of the secondary suite shall not exceed 860 square feet or 40% of the total habitable floor space of the principal building, whichever is less. 5, the applicant will sign confirmation letter accepting the terms of the order. There may be site audits conducted to ensure compliance, and any non-compliance issues may be caused to revoke the conditional use at any time.
Open up for council discussion, debate. Council, you saw this in planning. Any questions, comments?
Straightforward. Sounds like a good fit for the area.
Agreed. Good idea. Okay. Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. That is carried. You guys are welcome to leave now
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
as well. Thank you. 6.2.3 C19 2024 Jennifer Gower, 535 Notre Dame Bay East.
Proposal is to allow a home-based business in the residential general zone, RG8, consisting of a pet grooming business.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing at 7:40 PM. Is there anyone wishing to make a presentation or the applicant wishing to speak on this?
That would be me. Do you want me to? say?
Sure, come on up.
Okay, so, sorry, I'm Jennifer Gower, and I obviously live at that residence, 535 Notre Dame Bay East. I had submitted, I guess, a document describing kind of what my intentions were. So I closed a commercial business in the city. Very quickly, it got rented out. I didn't get a lease renewal after 10 years or 11 years. And I tried to partner up with a local groomer and see if we could figure things out. In the end, it wasn't really what I was looking for. So I still have long-term clients that I'd like to see their end of days out. Some of these are 14-year-old dogs. Some of these are dogs who have behavioral problems. My background is training and stuff like that too. So the long and the short of it is, instead of doing mobile, which gets really messy in homes if you're not doing it out of a van, which is also very odd in this weather, then the only other option I have is a small salon for big dogs and stuff like that too. Some of them are small. I don't imagine that the noise or anything will contribute to the factor of the community. For example, further down the road, we have Buffer Auto Zone. I believe that's the name of his business, which is I think somewhat an asset to the community. But at the same time, there would be more traffic, sometimes RVs, sometimes boats, coming and going from there, where I would be very basic. What I want, I homeschool my kids. I really don't have that much time. So I mean, I would try to keep it quiet, and it wouldn't be a big mainstream personal business, which might be a concern for some.
Perfect. Council, any comments, questions? Councillor Pelletier, this is your ward. Do you have any comments or questions?
Do your clients, owners,
Yeah.
stick around while you're doing the work usually, or?
It depends. Totally depends. I'm groomers don't let that happen. I don't really care. There's nothing you can't see. But it depends on the stress level of the dog. The concern with Ile des Chênes as a whole is, well, the coffee shops. I mean, there might be some coffee shops in retrospect where, people have time to wait, but there's not really anywhere to wait, but because we're so close to the city, generally speaking, I'm usually taking an hour and a half. A lot of these people sometimes have 2 dogs or something like that, but that's a fair question as to whether, like Vandermeer's has coffee, shops or whatever, maybe that would be. Hopefully maybe that would be up and coming where there would be a space for people to hang out,
When you're not grooming the dogs, are they kennelled?
No, that's a really good question. Thank you. No, I do one-on-one appointment based only. So I'm not I'm not a dog collector. It's generally not that anybody's sitting in transit. So usually you would in rotation, say 20 or 30 minutes before, hey, I think we're kind of nearing the end, whatever, come back and pick up your dog or, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's fair.
Council, anything else?
The 2 that I had.
I think that was the point. They're not, housing 8 dogs during tournament or something like that. They could get picked up or anything.
Yeah, I actually have to comment on that bay as a whole. That is a really dog reactive bay. When it comes to just just being a loud dog, barky type bay in general. So foot traffic wise, or any of that stuff too. So honestly, the dogs aren't going to be running at large. I'm not generally boarding. It's not happening like that.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much, Ms. Gower.
Sure, I can.
You bet. Sit back there. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor, in person, online, or on the phone? Anything received in favor?
Nothing received.
Anyone wishing to speak against, in person, online, or on the phone? Anything received against? Oh, sorry. sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I think my only issue with it, we're fine with the, small business. Our biggest complaint, or not complaint, issue would be dogs barking excessively.
I appreciate that comment. So are you opposed completely, or you just wanted to make that statement?
I want to make that statement.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Steve. Anything from council on that?
No, that's why I had asked the question, and a couple of us did is, I mean, dogs bark just because, but when enticed by a second or third or 5 other dogs, that's when all heck breaks loose. So that's why.
And the operating hours are determined on this page. Correct, am I wrong here by saying that? It's business plan, the operating hours? No.
I can comment on that if that makes any sense hours wise.
Sure.
So hours wise would be based on kind of need out of necessity. Generally, I mean, there might be some on the weekend. It's not probably going to be an operation unless it's like Christmas or a very busy season where it'd be like Saturday, Sunday. I highly doubt I'm even going to operate 4 days a week, but like hour wise, it would be like possibly 10 a.m. Latest being like probably 7. I highly doubt that it would be an all day.
Would you be opposed? I'm not saying we would do it. It would be a council debate, but would you be opposed if we put limited hours on to business operations? So 9 to 6, 9 to 7?
Yeah, because there are some like, I mean, I'm dealing with white collar workers, which happens to be, the primary function is sometimes the availability isn't there. So the flexibility can be, helpful for that. But that being said, I think if they're committed enough to drive wherever, that's part of it. But
Okay, no, thank you. Steve, is that everything from you?
I think so.
Sorry, Steve, what's the last name just for record for our CAO?
Kelly, Kelly.
And do you need an address or?
No,
No, that's good. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak against? Online, in person? Anything received against?
we have an email that was received from Gerald and Diane Ibaya. We own the residence at 525 Notre Dame Bay East, which is right beside the proposed address. We are opposed to this business as this is not deemed commercial property. It is situated right in the middle of the residential block. We are concerned that this type of business may cause eruption due to constant parking in the fenced area, which is in the backyard. Also, that the constant traffic down the street will be a nuisance and a stress level to the people living there. Our tenants are elderly people who are at home all day and spend a lot of time outside. There's another roomer in town who is on Main Street on commercial property. Regards, Gerald and Diane.
Thank you. That's everything?
Yes.
Final call for anyone wishing to make any final comments, speak in favor or against, or ask any questions in person, online, or on the phone. I'll close the public hearing at 7:48 p.m. Do I have a mover? Councillor Bonnerchuk, second. Councillor Lemoine.
Excuse me. Therefore, be resolved that conditional use C-19/2024 is approved subject to the following conditions. 1, no parking will be allowed on Notre Dame Bay East. 2, any signage shall comply with the municipal zoning bylaw. 3, the space devoted to the business must not exceed 20% of the total floor area of the primary dwelling or 300 square feet, whichever is less. And 4, the applicant must sign a confirmation letter accepting the terms. There may be site audits conducted to ensure compliance. Any non-compliance may be caused to revoke the conditional use at any time.
Thank you. We'll open up for council discussion and debate. Councillor Pelton, did you have anything to start with?
I know there's some concerns with the dog barking, but I think just with it being a one animal at a time setup. I don't know that I share that concern at this time, based on the business model that the applicant has put forward. I doubt these animals are going to spend any time outside, to to be honest with you. Yeah, so I'm good here.
So for debate discussion, does council want to entertain looking at specific operating hours? Or council's not wanting to entertain that? Just general? No.
I'd like to make a comment. I'm okay with not dealing with the hours. Can we put in the condition that the dogs are not to be stored outside and so it eliminates the barking?
I'll phrase it a little bit better, but
Yeah.
I understand your point.
They'll never be.
Okay.
Operations must be inside the home.
I can comment on the barking thing in general, if.
It's the public hearing's closed,
Oh, okay.
so it's okay.
Okay.
So, okay, council's good with no hourly restrictions. Okay, perfect. Anything else?
I think them staying inside's fine. That's gonna alleviate, I think, the main concern there.
Okay, with that addition, I will call for the question. All those in favor?
There's two additions,
Sorry, there's two additions. What was the other one?
inside and, oh yeah, and no, never mind. It's a non-addition.
So it's a moot point? Okay, thank you, Counselor. Sorry, do you need a coffee break? So with that moot point, and that one addition, I'll call for the question. Do you want to just read it just to? I need you right.
Well, I'm gonna rephrase it, but the operations will be required to be inside, no storage of dogs outside, but I'll
Okay.
phrase it a lot better than
Thank
that.
you. Council's good with that? Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None, that's carried. Thank you. You're welcome to leave. Now if you want.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Oh, can I ask in regards to, what happens in the process now? Does that make sense? Or do I need to ask?
Hang on, Tanner,
Well,
I'll reach out to you.
yeah, tenants will reach out
That's
to you
fine.
and
Thank you very much.
get things going.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to items 9.1.1 subdivision file 4165-4-8348 Hall.
This is in regards of subdivisions just north of St. Adolphe, north of Leclerc Road, splitting off the farm yard area from the agricultural lands. That's pretty much what it is.
Perfect. We'll open it for. Did I ask for a mover and second? No, I didn't. Do I have a mover? Counselor Pelche, second. Counselor Bonnerchuk. Sorry, guys. I'll open it for council discussion debate. Discussed it planning, pretty simple, homestead separation. Council, anything to add?
No, it looks like the province came back with all their stuff and looks like they're good.
Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? None, that's carried. Thank you. And 9.2.1, August 2024 building permit reports. Do I have a mover?
Counselor
Councilor
Belanger?
Belanger, thank you.
For the month of August, we have 28 permits, construction value of 8.4 million, total fees brought in of 13.8, which is a little bit higher than last year at this point in time. For August, at 23 permits, 6 million in construction and 9.6 thousand in value. So bringing an overall total count year to date of 153 permits, 36.5 million and 114,000 in fees, which is slightly below the current pace set last year at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. Open it for council comments, discussion, anything to add, council?
Nice to see a jump.
For sure. Okay, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, that's carried. And moving on to item 12, adjournment. Do I have a mover?
No.
Oh, sorry, what am I missing?
9.2.
Just trying to get away from that one. 9.2.2, Board of Revision, appointment of the board. Do I have a mover? Counselor Pelche, second. Counselor Bonnerchuk.
All right, as the deadline approaches, it looks like we will require a board of revision for the 2025 assessment role likely as a result of reassessments done for the year. We do have two at-large people who are interested in being on the board. That is Tom Tenhoff and Mr. Ron Rochon. We would like, administration would like to have three people of council appointed. So if we could select now and forever hold your peace, as well as appoint chairperson for that group. And my recommendation as a secretary would be to appoint the assistant CEO, Dominic Lemoine, to be the recording secretary.
She smiled there. She's very excited for that. I will agree with that recommendation, the CEO. Unless there's a frown. Council discussion debate, who wants to do this?
You know what? I was supposed to do it last year. Nothing came through. I will take one.
Okay, Councillor Bodenchuk's in as chairperson as well.
I have the same sentiments. I've been on the Board of Revision for 7 years now and never had to attend one. So I would, if there is one, I would like to continue on it.
So you missed the first one because we had one our first year.
Okay, then I wasn't on that one then, sorry. But each time I've been on the board, it's been canceled.
Councillor Boulanger is the second. Anyone else want this position?
It has to be in person.
This would be
It
council
has to be a council member,
or a member of.
and it should be in person. We've never had
Yeah.
one.
Because the province is here as well. right?
Yes. There's a lot of back and forth and interactions when it comes to the board of revision, so.
If the remaining councillor doesn't want to do it, I will do it. I don't mind doing it, but I would rather delegate this to somebody else if they would rather do it.
The future secretary of the board would like to speak.
Go ahead.
So we actually have done it online and virtually. I think it started in COVID and I believe the last one was also virtually. So it's an option. I have also had a request from someone who would be an agent to do it virtually because they are out of province. So it's an option. The board could be in person if they choose to be. That's a decision you have to make, and we can make it virtually available for representatives if that's what you wish.
We had people come up during COVID.
But we have done it virtually. Yeah, I think we had a recording of it. So assessment did it on their end. So it has been done. We can do it.
Okay.
Your choice. Just want to bring that to your attention.
We have an exact date on this as well, sorry, before I volunteered myself.
October 9th.
Well, it's too late now. I volunteered myself.
10 a.m.
Sign me up.
Oh, thanks, guys.
The chair.
Yeah. I'll recommend Councillor Pelletier as chair, just because of his position as deputy mayor. He's been just chaired meetings before.
Thanks, couple.
Council good with that? Unless Councillor Bodenchuk wants to chair.
No, sir, I am good, thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Final comments, questions? All for the question, all those in favor?
All right.
Opposed, none, that is carried. Item 12, adjournment. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lemoine, second. Councillor Pelletier. Final thoughts of the evening? No. Call for the question. All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed, none, that is carried. I'll close the meeting at 7:58 PM. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and have a great rest of your evening.